Are you feeling overwhelmed by the ins and outs of teaching? Wondering how in the world you're going to ever fit all the academic, social, and emotional requirements and find time to do STEM? We have found a solution to this and we cannot wait to share it with you.
In this session, we will prove how integrative planning will save you time, provide collaboration with others, offers students interactive learning that ebbs and flows, and share resources with you that you can start using today to make your academic and STEM planning more cohesive. Hi, I'm Amanda McDonald.
And I'm Lori Stafford, and we are the coaches at Waterville Community Elementary School. We are a designated TSIN STEM designated school in 2020. We were determined to find a way to give our teachers more time, decrease their amount of stress and their feeling of overwhelmingness, while at the same time providing our students with STEM activities.
When we were working to become STEM designated, our teachers were feeling overwhelmed with adding one more thing to their plate. Time was of the utmost importance, and it was in short supply. Learning how to take the time you are given and make the best of it can sometimes be a challenge. We met the challenge, and here are the ways we are able to overcome it.
We found our solution with integrative planning. What is integrative planning? Integration is combining parts of pieces into a whole. Integration planning is coming together as a collaborative group to determine where these pieces fit in to make planning all-encompassing. Integrative planning is part of the TSIN STEM designation rubric. You can find this under Attribute 2.1, Frequency of PBL with Integrated Content across subject areas.
We began by leading the charge. We offered to create the first week's lesson plans so that we could have the experience of doing the process ourselves. Because we did it first, we were able to lay out a process that teachers could follow and adapt to work for them. This created teacher buy-in. Teachers were more willing to try our plans for the first week and see how everything worked together. Then we followed an I do, we do, you do process. We created the first plans. The next few plans, we worked with teachers very closely to create plans, and finally, we let our teachers create the plans on their own. We checked in each week during their grade group meeting to be a contributor of ideas as we continued to work through the process. As a school, we started with one grade group and focused on that grade group for about a month. This allowed us to devote quite a bit of time to lesson planning with each teacher and observing classrooms to see how the integration was going. We continued doing one grade group a month until all of our grade groups were using the integrated lesson planning. The first aha that our teachers had was that it takes time up front to save time in the classroom.
We use the reading curriculum to determine the week's learning. We have open court. So within open court, we have green band, which is phonics, phonemic awareness. We have blue band, which is language arts, spelling, and writing. And we have red band, which is vocabulary and comprehension. After this, we identify a STEM culminating activity that corresponds with that reading story for the week. We determine the standards, both the reading, science, social studies, and incorporate STEM into that so they were all covered. We use a writing prompt to drive what the students will write about for the week, and it's also all-encompassing. We integrate social studies and science and language into the reading curriculum. Lesson plans that are on the Google Drive are accessible and editable to everyone in the grade group. Nothing in education is a one-size-fits-all approach. each grade group is individual and has individual preferences. Because of this, we gave each grade group choices in how the planning process would look for their grade. Grade groups could decide if they wanted a designated person to have specific duties, such as one person in charge of planning for science and social studies, one person in charge for reading, etc. That designated person would then work to have their portion of the lesson ready before the grade group meeting. Another option is for the whole group to work together and devise the plan as they're working along in their grade group meeting. Either way, integrative planning leads to collaboration within the grade group and a cohesiveness across the grade group as well.
First and foremost, the amount of time they saved and the fact that they felt they had time to do things they had not been able to incorporate into their day, they began to talk about this with other grade groups who had not yet started this process, which in turn left those grade groups wanting to try this new process. If it saves time, why not? Teachers stated, students make connections between all subjects. It holds students' attention, which makes way for understanding, allowing for increased grades. More time for creativity, for STEM, and writing due to time saved from integration. An increased knowledge of the Tennessee standards and integration of these standards throughout all of our daily teaching. Connectedness between colleagues, collaboration, not competing with each other. An increase our family time in the evenings and weekends, improves personal teaching skills, lends for more creative ideas between teachers. Collected data is targeted throughout each lesson, and liquid transitions to each subject taught. Would you not love to hear your teachers make these same statements? Let's explore the lesson plans and see what they look like.
Let's take a look at the lesson plan created by our second grade team. Copies of these plans and a blank plan have been included in the handouts. If you didn't get a chance to see those, we will put a link so that you can look at those. At the top of the lesson plan, you will see that this plan is for Unit 4, Lesson 1. This refers to the reading lesson for that week. The reading story is the first thing that we look at when we're creating our integrative lesson plans. We start by reading the story to look for any natural connections between the story and STEM. You will notice the name of the story and the paired text the teachers found on ReadWorks. Next, you will see the overarching theme, which was plants and animals for this unit, the concept question for the story, and the enduring understanding that we want our students to walk away with.
The next thing you will notice is that teacher in charge of grammar pinpointed grammar skills that were suggested in the teacher manual, but also chose grammar skills that stood out as being good to teach from reading the story. Following the grammar, you will notice that you have a section called morning meetings. If you've never heard of a morning meeting, they are a set-aside time to focus on the social-emotional needs of our students. The morning meeting at our school occurs every Monday and Friday, and then throughout the week as needed. Our teachers strategically link the morning meeting topic to the integrative plans for the week. This is also the time that teachers introduce the STEM concept for the week. Introducing the STEM concept and project that they will work on all week sets a purpose for learning. Students are more engaged in the daily lessons because they know they will need to use the learned information to help complete their weekly project. You will notice that in this lesson's morning meeting, the teacher has related the relationship between insects and flowers to kindness.
STEM threads are the next piece of integrative planning. Threads are the pieces that we weave together to make STEM great. They usually include a science, social studies, and reading standards. We also look at 21st century skills, the engineering process, STEM careers, while we are choosing our STEM projects for the week. Take a minute to look over the threads and see how we have weaved together all of those pieces. If you have any questions about our threads, jot them down and you can send us an email. We would love to answer any lingering questions that you may have about after this session.
Open Court is the reading program that our district uses. As stated before, when beginning integrative planning, we started with our reading story and worked to tie everything around it. As you look at the plans, you will notice that the Open Court plans are color-coded. Our teachers color-coded the plans to help emphasize where they were integrating extra grammar skills into the lesson. Blue is the color that we use for grammar. You will notice also that the mode of writing for this lesson is opinion. The teachers have molded the opinion writing with a focus on adjectives to be about flowers and plants.
As students progress through the day, all of the subjects weave together and feel more like a cohesive unit of study opposed to just chunking everything by individual subjects. Students show more interest and excitement in a lesson because they see the connections between the subjects and they have a specific learning purpose. There is a specific daily learning target. The lesson plan is built around questioning. Many who, what, when, where, how, and why questions are given to students, and they must justify those answers.
Hi, my name is Tia Shope and I'm a second grade teacher at Waterville Community Elementary School. When we started integrative lesson planning, I felt as though it was going to be a great tool for our grade group. As teachers, we want to work smarter, not harder. But there are so many things going on that it's hard to focus on what is smarter, or am I just adding more work? As soon as I saw the template and the pieces that made up the plan, I knew instantly that this was us working smarter, not harder. Initially, there was some pushback from my team members because at first glance, the plans can look daunting. However, when we realized that we each have our own piece and that the work was divided equally amongst the group, the pushback became non-existent. The beautiful part is that we each took the piece we were strongest at to plan. This means that I am the strongest in my team at planning phonics, so I planned green band for my team. When we divide the plans like this, the strongest member for each subject is planning that part. Our lesson plans became strong, our team became stronger, and our students saw the benefits. Our students also saw connections between the subjects, and this made learning much more interesting and fun for them. Teaching now looks more cohesive. In the past, subjects were taught in isolation and without context, but now subjects are intertwined and the students are able to see how it all fits together like a puzzle. The integrative planning is worth the effort to change your thinking. It's worth building a stronger team that can work closely and creatively. And it's worth it for students to see all the connections and have a learning experience that prepares them for the world outside of these walls.
Some of you may have departmentalized classes in your building. Our 4th and 5th grades are departmentalized. In each grade, there are 4 teachers, and they are in 2-man teams. In a team, 1 teacher teaches math and science, and 1 teacher teaches social studies and reading. To work the integrative planning in our departmentalized grades, the teams come together to discuss how they can cross the hall. Crossing the hall is where the math and science teacher intentionally plans to incorporate ideas from the reading and social studies class. And the reading and social studies class intentionally plans to incorporate something from the math and science class. The students still have a weekly STEM activity that incorporates things from both classes. Departmentalized classes can have different challenges to integrative planning, but it can be done. Now that you have seen an integrative planning, we want to share what our next steps are in this process. We have 2 goals for next year. First, we want to be intentional about integrating our math curriculum. We do incorporate some math into the STEM activity, but we want math to feel more incorporated into the week's plans. The second thing we are going to work on next year is to create strong project-based learning opportunities for our students as opposed to STEM activities. We are now ready to take our plans to the next level. Our word is intentionality. Our plans will provide intentionality to all subjects.
Today, we have explored that you can find time to fit all of your academic standards and also STEM into your day. Brian Tracy, who is a productivity expert, says that a minute of planning saves 10 minutes in execution. Wow. A minute of planning saves 10 minutes in execution. We are excited for you to have this opportunity to use the integrative planning, and we would love for you to reach out with any questions that you have or anything that you would like to share with us. We are providing our contact information along with a few more sample integrative plans for you to look through as examples. Thank you for taking your time to watch this, and we are so excited to begin this process with you at your school. It is worth it. Remember, time is of the essence.